What's up, heathens? How ya doing? Tonight we have a very special video because Jism is going to be responding to Behind the Curve, the documentary that's out there about not only Jism, but also Bob from Globebusters, and Mark, and Patricia Steer, and Nathan Thompson, and all of those flurfers. Basically, he's going to be demanding an apology from the film, and he does it. It's very flurferish, if I could say. I mean, it's very flurfer-like. So we're going to be taking a look at that, but we also have some special Today I Learns tonight, as well as some shitty-ass science. So, we're going to be doing all that, but first, of course, like I said, we got to get into the scene list here. Okay, so the response. Now, tonight we have Jeranism. Jeranism, as you know, was in the Behind the Curve documentary where they looked at the flat earth community. And Jaren is not happy with his role in the film. Understandably so, considering that he developed and orchestrated an experiment that definitely proved that the Earth is a sphere. But he's not willing to accept that, okay? He's trying to contextualize the experiment, and he also tries to demand an apology from the filmmakers. We have a super chat from Chrismer that says, for more cute animal pics, go to xhamster.com. That's not cute animal pics unless it's the weird category where they shove hamsters up their asses. Then that probably borderlines on like animal cruelty, but I mean, I would expect ex-hamster to have a fetish like that. Or it's the one where the donkey fucks you in the ass. And then Mike McAtheus says, thanks, KC. Woo!
You're welcome.
I should miss super chats more often. That way people have to do another super chat in order to say thank you. I'm just kidding. I don't need that. I don't need the super chat. I love getting them, but I don't need them to the point of extorting it from you. Well, if you want me to read that first super chat, maybe you should donate again, motherfucker. Anyways, okay. So we're going to be looking at that. There's also, which the Skeptic Mafia had to look at this video and they gave their thoughts, and that's what we're going to be reading their thoughts later. But then I also have the video where Jeranism is trying to explain why the experiment failed from right after he did it, which he references in this video. So I'm going to bring up that video when necessary, but Jaren has taken that video down where he explains why the experiment failed. I don't know why. It was up for the longest time after he did the experiment, but after all this shit hit the fan, he deleted it. So, anyways.
I just have one thing to say to Jaren.
Right?
Interesting.
Interesting. That's going to be the catchphrase tonight. Hashtag interesting.
Interesting.
All right. Let's see what Jaren has to say.
Break. I could have easily handled it if they put me in the movie to show that I attempted several observations and failed. You know, I'm okay with that because it's true. Sure, it's not personally satisfying to fail like we did, but my channel has been and always will be about the truth, no matter where it leads, and also my channel is about a search for the truth. So that's all that I want out of my channel, and that's all that I want out of any documentary that I'm in or any news piece that I'm in, is just portray me accurately. That's it. I'll always learn from my mistakes. So yeah, our observations were varied, and ultimately, some of the observations we made were thought of ad hoc when our primary experiments or primary observations failed. But we know that National Geographic and these film producers will never show the Monterey Bay mirror observation, or any of the other observations that we do. So now we will just continue these other observations, and we'll get them down so that we can relay them and give the exact distances and the exact setup, and then I'll ask for everyone to come. And at that point, they can come out and film the observations we make, and we'll make sure we film simultaneously, and then we can see how they're going to go about spinning that.
Okay, so got a couple super chats, but also I want to say something about what Jeranism just said here. So first super chat, Mike McAtheist says GE is acting like a lesbian. And then CR True says Jeranism needs to apologize to every person he conned into the flat Earth. And I mean, I would agree because I mean he's so obviously wrong. He's been proven wrong. He proved himself wrong, but yet he's hanging on to it. So anyway, I don't know. But I love how he says, like, I'm going to give you the exact measurements and everything like that. But yet he talks about this in exact measurements. He uses things like 17 feet and 23 feet. But those weren't the actual measurements that they were using. And also he says that it was a 4-mile stretch of road. It wasn't. It was 3.16 miles. I know, because I looked up the exact place that he did this experiment at. I put the points to measure the distance on Google Maps to measure from the point that he said that they were filming at to the end point, and it's 3.16 miles. It's nowhere near 4 miles. So, for a 6-foot-tall person, the horizon line will be just before where the person like is standing, because it's at like 2.999 miles, and then so like right at chest level or whatnot, it's like hit or miss as to where it would appear over the horizon or whatnot, because even at 4 miles, the amount of curvature that should the amount hidden by the curvature would be less than a foot. So I don't know. He didn't exactly get a very good stretch of road to actually do this particular observation in. So anyways, there's that.
But it's sad. I mean, we're making observations daily that are impossible on a globe. So of course, this is one of the biggest lies there is, and we're never going to be taken seriously. And I think that's, this is why it's so upsetting that this divides the community. Is I've seen so many people, even in the flat Earth community, saying, "Oh, globe bust."
Okay, we need to fast forward this. Can we? Speed.
Aaron's a shill, and they got paid for being in this documentary. Just a whole bunch of nonsense, and it makes you guys look bad because it's completely untrue. Same thing with a recent article I read, I think on The Independent, that said that Logan Paul was paid to be a speaker at the Flat Earth Conference, which is completely and totally 100% untrue. In fact, it's the complete opposite. He and his posse, if you will, all paid full price for VIP tickets. Certainly wasn't anything that Flat Earth paid for or that they wanted at the event. No, they couldn't care less. But he wanted to be there. He paid to be there. And then once he was there, Robbie asked him if he'd like to speak, and he chose to get up and speak. That's on him. But there certainly was no other ulterior motives, and that's not what you get in the mainstream. And it's never going to be. Flat Earth is never going to be taken seriously because it is the ultimate deception.
This is boring, Jeranism. Why can't you just stay focused on a single topic? Like, what? I don't understand this about his entire shtick. Because he has an hour show, or well, I guess technically it's a 2 or 3 hour show, but he's broken it up into an hour that's on his channel, and then he takes calls on another channel. So, like, I don't understand why you have to get sidetracked on shit that just doesn't matter. I don't care what people are saying about you in the Flat Earth community, Jaren. We know they're shitting on you. Let's see, we got JC. He says, hit or miss. I guess Jism missed, huh? Yeah. And then Creation-Induced Lobotomy said, I'm here for ukulele lessons. And then we got a new Skeptic Mafia member, Z-Postate. Fucking restricted numbers calling me. I don't like you. Okay. So let's get back to it. He's rambling.
We've all been taught from the tiniest of ages that, Flat Earth is ridiculous. In commercials, you see the boat going over the edge. We were all taught about, people thought it was flat because they thought that if you just kept sailing that way that you'd fall off the edge. And then good old Columbus came along and said, well, maybe it's a globe. And they went, sailing, and then they came back and people realized that it was a globe. It's just such nonsense. Anyway, the only thing that they can do is ridicule us and make fun of Flat Earth and misrepresent any observation and keep showing Neil deGrasse making an ass of himself, keep showing Bill Nye saying the same things over and over again, and all these websites that come out with the top 10 reasons that Flat Earth is false, and they keep going back to these same observations that we've now debunked, like boats going over the curve and things that just aren't true. So it's their only weapon, and truth is their enemy, and deception is the only avenue that they can take. So going forward, at least in the future, I will always expect deception. That's just what I'm going to do, always. And so for anybody out there in the Flat Earth community that has been approached to be interviewed or anything,
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, so basically, this particular part right here, he's basically saying that they will always be misrepresented, they will always be laughed at, and there's no way that anybody will ever take this seriously. So, any kind of media coverage or anything like that is always going to be negative towards them. And I would agree, it would be negative towards them because it's fucking stupid as shit to think the earth is flat, Jaren. God damn. Fucking idiot.
Then it would be very easy for me to show, hey, look, they pulled this out of the middle of this observation, but I don't have that footage. And again, and that would have saved me from a lot. If I had someone has been approached to be interviewed or anything, I go with the Rob Skiba. He gives some advice. He said whenever they film him, he makes sure he has somebody filming the entire thing. And that would have saved me from a lot. If I had somebody else out there filming the entire observation, then it would be very easy for me to show, hey, look, they pulled this out of the middle of this observation, but I don't have that footage. And again, it's something that they told me they would give me, and now they've gone back on their word. And they also told me that they would deal in all honesty, and they would deal on a face-to-face basis, and that they wanted to do everything on the up and up. And then they go and do this. So real quick.
So this particular section is taken from the hour-long video that he has. This is actually after the break he takes at about the half-hour mark. So, what he's talking about is he went through the whole behind the documentary thing. He said that, they talked to him about filming his experiments, and he was like, oh, yeah, definitely, because I can't film them. I don't know how I'm going to film them, so you guys can film it. But he never indicates that he asked them, hey, I can get the footage later, right? And, it doesn't make sense that the documentary people would want to give their film away, even the raw film, when they recorded it so that they could sell it. So, I mean, I don't know why Jeranism thought that he was going to get the raw footage from the documentary. And they actually made him sign a contract, so he should have really read the contract and what it said, because I'm fairly certain that it didn't have anything in the contract about giving him footage. And so they pretty much said, we can't give you the footage because we sold it, and, we can't just hand out the footage. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what he's complaining about. It's the fact that he can't get the footage that he was never promised.
He's not that bright. Like, you expect him to read a contract, but he's not an intelligent.
Yeah, I know. I know he's not intelligent, but, I'm just saying, like, he's a grown-ass man.
Look, I will read you first an email that I sent to Caroline and Daniel. And basically, we've gone back and forth numerous times. But at one point, I basically said, okay, here's what I need from you, because we're planning on going back out to this canal and doing some more observations from there. And I told them, I said, hey, I'm going to have people go back out there. And I said, but if I come out on my channel and say, hey, we're going to go back to this observation place, I said, people could very easily just say, well, you already proved curve. Why would you go back there? And I said, so you guys know, more than anyone, Daniel was right there. I said, he filmed the entire thing. So if anybody knew that nothing was conclusive that night, it was Daniel. 25 people walk away from that event all saying the same exact thing, yet the movie producer takes an out-of-place observation and tries to put it at the end of the movie as if it proved curve. That's just deception. It's deceitful. It's dishonest.
Actually, it's not. And we're actually going to see how it's not, deceitful or anything like that. But I'm going to let him get to the part where he's reading Caroline's response to him.
Untruthful. So, that's the problem with that. But anyway, I emailed them and I said, now remember, the first thing I'm reading, just so people understand clearly, I'm not reading the statement that they read. I'm about to read you the statement I asked them to read. Okay? So I said...
Okay. So he's about to demand that they read what he has written. Just keep that in mind. He's demanding of them to read what he has put down here, and he's like, you have to exactly say this. This is such a childish fucking thing to do. I was bewildered when I first saw this video, because it's like, this is a grown-ass man. A grown-ass man is stomping his feet, crying and demanding an apology in the exact words that he wants.
This is what I assumed the statement that I would want would look something like. And then I said, the following statement is in all honesty and all is very truthful. And I said, so I remember being hesitant about including myself in this film, and I can remember you guys speaking to me directly in North Carolina and Daniel speaking to me directly in Holt, California the night that I signed the document. I said you both spoke about being in good faith and honestly portraying the people and events around this documentary, and I said for the most part you did a pretty good job in doing that throughout the movie. However, filming my neighbor's house, held up by cinder blocks and surrounded by stray cats as if it was my house, was not very honest.
Yeah, I forgot he mentions this. So imagine this. In the documentary, okay, they're standing there, they're talking on Jism's porch, and Jism has the laser that he's going to be shining like down a 4-mile stretch of road, a little bit more than a 3-mile stretch of road. And so he's showing it off and everything, and he's like, it's just a laser, like you play around with cats and everything. And so they pan over and they show the cats on his next door neighbor's doorstep. Now, they are cat people, the next door neighbors, and so they have a fuck ton of cats over there. Okay, they didn't really portray it as like, you know, as it being his house. You could tell that it wasn't his house because when they filmed him on his porch, like the other porch is like fucking narrow as shit. Like it ain't really a porch. It's just like a place where you stow shit, right? And so you could tell that it's not his porch. But in any case, I just think it's funny because you show this shitty ass fucking run down house right next to Jeranism, and then and Jeranism's pissed off because he's like, those aren't my cats. That's not my house. My house looks a little less rinkety-dink than this one. This is a double wide, motherfucker! Anyways.
And obviously the final scene was completely dishonest. So here's the what I told them I would think the statement would look something like. I said, to whom it concerns, on the night that we filmed Jaren's experiment, many observations were made, some that would lean towards a curved Earth and some that would lean towards a flat Earth. At the conclusion of the evening, everyone involved, this included both flat Earth proponents and globe Earth proponents, all agreed that nothing was proven or shown to be definitive. For our movie, however, we decided to place one such observation that leans towards a curved Earth as the final scene of our movie. We did this because, then in parentheses, I said, insert whatever reason you would like here, end parentheses. We also had originally told Jaren that after the movie was sold that we would be able to provide him some of the footage from that evening. However, due to contractual obligations around selling the film, we can no longer provide said footage. Thanks kindly, the producers. So that's all that I wanted from them. I said, if you guys are dealing in all honesty, there's no reason you cannot write the statement exactly as I just said, because that is a truthful statement. Well, I want to read you what basically she came back and said.
Okay, so before we get to Caroline's thing, you know, I just the fact that he wants them to read it and have it say that we have taken this thing out of context, we have purposefully misrepresented Jeranism here, and I don't know, it's very fucking childish of him to think that that is what's going to happen. Another thing though is that the actual agreement between Caroline and him did not include the exact words of "we will give it to you after we sell the film." The actual words that she used that he earlier had touched on was that, well, we can't do anything yet because we have to sell the film. So we can't do anything with this footage for you or in any kind of respect until we sell the film and we know what's going on. So she was very, very transparent with the process and like why she can't just give him the film and everything like that. She was very transparent. But Jism here, I mean, he just thinks like, oh, she promised that she'd give it after she'd sell it. It's like, motherfucker, if I go and I sell something to Bob over here, you think that I'm going to take back from Bob and then give it to yo ass? No, I'm not going to take from Bob and give it to you. I sold my shit to Bob, motherfucker.
And then I did reply to her again and said, are you going to say the statement that I said or not? And her email was, please refer to my most recent email. You can read that for your subscribers or something to that effect. So let me read you what she said, and we'll go through it kind of piece by piece. So it begins off, hi, Jaren. I sincerely apologize for the delay in responding to your email. It's been a busy week, and I needed time to review the footage from the experiment before responding to you. So number one, They're already getting to review the footage that I can't even review. So, okay, great. You're going to review the footage. Review it and tell me what goes on. So anyway.
Yes, because they own the rights to the footage. I mean, they've sold like the movie to whatever place, but I mean, I'm sure that whatever contract that they have signed, I mean, they can retain the original copies or whatnot. But anyways, that's besides the point. Yeah, they own the footage. I mean, like you said earlier, you should have had somebody there recording. I mean, don't you make enough money to buy another P1000 to record your ass? I mean, you have a lot of subscribers. You do about 7 million views a month, motherfucker. You can definitely afford another camera. All right, we got another super chat. Corrupt Syntax says, Fat Pat and Cellophane want to suck GE's big dick. Red's Rhetoric says he's seen bigger. Poisoning the Well. Check it out. Hi, Casey. Join the Skeptic Mafia. Drink. I'm out already because it's jism. But I drink in spirit. Good sir. But also, I doubt Red's Rhetoric would say that he's seen bigger. I'm just saying. I know. He's the one that talks about GE's massive penis. Or dick, whatever.
She then continues. There were alignment attempts where the light was visible at both heights, 17 feet and 23 feet, and neither height, 17 feet nor 23 feet. There was only one moment where the light appears to be visible at only one height, a 23 feet, which is the clip used in the film. There were no results that yielded a flat result, namely the light shining only at 17 feet and not 23 feet. It's a little confusing what they're talking about. If you remember at one point, Enrique, the guy at the far end,
Okay, so before he actually goes into his whole bullshit here, I do want to bring up like the actual thing that he's talking about, because he's removed it from YouTube, so you can't go and see it. And I gotta get to my folder that's got all my assets in it. But we're only gonna watch a little bit of this.
Did the Bedford level, the old Bedford level?
Shit, stop. Turn that off. All right. So this is him kind of explaining it here. He's going to be going.
Of it that actually kind of deviated away from straight line and then came back in.
And when you look at this, if we draw a line, because this is where the original spot would be. Yesterday we were shooting from this turn here, starting there, and then we were going to work our way back. But this part here, when you draw a straight line all the way down, and again, I'm no experimenter scientist. When you do this, you say, oh, perfect. It's a straight line right along the whole thing, right? No problems. But if you really get down here and look, this goes right through the weeds. So all of a sudden you've got a problem where are we hitting these weeds, which is why when you look at the pictures, is this why we're getting, oh, hello, don't do that. Is this why we're getting this scatter? This scatter actually looks like it's going through weeds or trees or branches.
Okay, so I'm maybe you guys can help me out with this, because I'm not actually seeing, like, I don't know what he's actually talking about here. Okay, because I on my particular review of it, I showed how the beam divergence was going to be too much for him to actually do the experiment like he wants to. So I don't know if he's saying that the beam diverged more because of this. Like, I get that he's saying that there were weeds in the way, and there's definitely a reason to think that there could be some weeds obstructing it, but not to the effect of like it being like that high up. Now, this is the laser, like so what they did was they ran two tests. The first test didn't really help them out a lot because the beam divergent was too wide. And for some reason, Jism thought that a second time it would work. Anyway, so the first time failed. Second time, they went out there and they ran the test again. They tried to use the laser again, but of course the laser is not going to magically have a radically small beam divergence. Okay, so of course they get this kind of picture. And so I feel like what Jism is saying here is that the weeds are causing the beam to diverge more than they would actually, causing like the sort of wavy or blurry kind of like light on the board there instead of a more pinpoint light. So I don't know if he's saying that or he's just complaining about fucking shadows in the way. I don't know. But we got the Amberian Knight that says, "I must drink for humanity." I think that's supposed to be humanity. We got Hoosier Atheist saying, "GE, you sound like you're suggesting Jism is a lying idiot." Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I think that he definitely could be. But I don't know for sure. Drew's book reviews. He has gone through weed all right. Yeah, he must be a high motherfucker. Anyways, so I don't know if that's what he's saying here or whatever, but I also don't know why this actually matters. Like, I don't know why this matters to the actual experiment at hand. This is going exactly how, you would expect it to go, because the beam would have diverged so much that it would have covered like 100 square meters or something like that.
And that's something that it's just hard to notice until you get out there. I can only practice or look at what my beam divergence is in my street, which is about 100 yards. But as soon as you get out there, you're dealing with a much larger beast than 100 yards. I think we figured out it's like 70 football fields. So my practice I'm doing with one, and then in real life we need to go 70 football fields. Could be wrong on that number. I think that's what we figured out.
Could be wrong on that number. I don't know. But no, you're definitely wrong, because it wasn't 4 miles. It was 3.16 miles from where he said that they were filming at to the end of the road. And so that, I actually looked it up, and it's about 55 football fields.
4 miles is about 70 football fields, I think. So anyway,
good.
That's basically sounds good.
Yeah,
you believe it?
Good.
That sounds about right. It was pretty fucking far. I know I couldn't have kicked a field goal that far.
Sure, why not?
There was a period of time where, and I'll have all this stuff after, mostly I was filming with my camera, but I wasn't on record, because when I recorded, I was getting, the effect that we see when stars are zoomed in on, that they're like out of focus.
Yes, that happens with the P900 all the time. It makes me crazy.
I hate it.
Yeah, it's because it's not powerful enough to focus on fucking stars, dipshit. All you gotta do is just mess with the focus a little bit and you can fuck off. That's what you can do. I mean, the fuck off's legit, but... Shit. Okay. So yeah. I forgot where I was. You can fuck off. Fuck off, Jism and Bob. Fuck off.
I can't stand it because I have to turn off the recording button. So what?
Oh no! Now I know what I was saying. So the P900, you just got to focus it a little bit, and you probably won't be able to get it perfectly in focus. But I mean, with stars and shit, I mean, you can get like telescopes and shit where you can focus that shit in. Like, I know my telescope in there, like I can focus in on a star and I can see a star, and it doesn't look like all that blurry and whatnot. But I mean, it does just look like a fucking star that's far away.
Remind me his name, the film? Daniel. What Daniel was doing is he was filming me, recording, but I wasn't recording. I was just had it on the screen. So I need to get that footage from Daniel, because we were seeing eventually when we couldn't get the light to be shown on this back board, or we couldn't figure out how high it was, we told Enrique, who was standing back here with a portable sun, to turn on his light. And then the guy that was standing here at this panel would have his light on. And he would put his light in the hole so we could see where we were aiming. And then we would tell him to shut his light off once I was zoomed in all the way here. So he would shut his light off, and then we would tell Enrique, okay, walk back and forth, like go towards the water and away from the water. And we would actually see him be occulted by this panel. We could actually see the light pretty clear as day. go behind the panel and then come back out of the panel, go behind it. So once we realized that, we said, okay, now we can do some testing to see, since we're zoomed in here and we're seeing straight through this hole, what happens if he lifts the light, lowers the light, puts it at the 15 feet or 17 feet, walks back, walks forth, and
so as you can tell, basically he's got he's talking about how they were trying to, I guess, configure their setup, and they could see like the light shining through the thing whenever the guy was walking like out from behind it to in front of it and whatnot. And so you've got the two slits there, and it depends on like the curvature of the earth, but like they're not 4 miles away, and even at 4 miles you're only looking at like an obstruction of less than a foot. All right, so you got Demonic Davros that says, and then it was a glory hole. Yeah, it was a glory hole for, I don't know who's got like a light bulb dick man. That's who. Teresa Ferris, this movie should have been called Dazed and Confused, and that title was already taken, and weed was involved as well.
Can you please explain what a light bulb dick is?
And I don't know what a light bulb dick is, honey, but if it was a glory hole and they put a light through the glory hole, then it would have been a light bulb dick going into the glory hole.
It would have still just been a light bulb.
Yeah.
I'd say the one moment that people kind of gasped was we were looking through this hole. We told Steve, thank you, Steve, by the way, for all your help yesterday. You were awesome. We told Steve to turn off his light. He turned off his light, and then we told Enrique, turn yours on. He turned his on, and we could see nothing. We were just looking at a black hole. And then we said, okay, lift that light above your head. And when he lifted the light above his head, we could clearly see it. That was, one moment. But then we tried to do it again, like to replicate that result, because that would be interesting. That would mean we're looking straight through.
Interesting. It would be interesting.
Through and seeing here, which would be evidence of curvature. But then we had him redo it, and we didn't get the same result. So that's what I mean by even the globe believer would not walk away and say, oh, no, for sure, we proved that the Earth is curved. There was other things that we saw that certainly looked like the Earth was flat.
Okay, so I get how it may have confused him, but I don't think that he's actually like I just very much doubt his scientific integrity on this one, because when he says that, oh, we put the light above we put the light at the 17-foot mark, the taller one, instead of the 15 foot, which that's what it was. It wasn't 23 feet and 17 feet. It was 15 feet and 17 feet, which makes sense considering the length of your fucking arms and how you can raise it up and shit, right? So you've got the one that's like right here, 15 feet above the water, right? And so they say, well, we could see it sometimes when it's on the bottom, but we could also see it on the top. Well, let's see. The Earth Curve Calculator says that there's way less than a foot of curvature that is high, or there's less than a foot of shit that's hidden by the curve. So why on earth do you think that something would be hidden when you're at like chest or even at waist height, like where that first slit is? Why would that be hidden and this one would not be? I would think that you would be able to see the bottom one as well as the top one that's even on a curved Earth. So I just don't know. I don't understand the purpose of this experiment if you're not actually going to set it up correctly. You got right here that it's 3.88 miles. If you go to the Earth Curve, Earth Curve Calculator. Earth Curve Calculator. So let's go there. There we are. Eye height. Let's go with 6 foot. Just in general, 6 foot. Target distance is 3.88 away. You have a horizon of 2.99, and you have a target hidden height of 0.517 feet. Less than a foot. You should be able to see both of those lights, Jism. There's no reason why the bottom one should be hidden by a curve. Unless you had it less than a foot off of the ground. Jesus Christ, you can't even set up a fucking experiment correctly, and you had it put into a goddamn movie. Jesus fucking Christ. Fucking idiot. So anyways, that's that. That's his explanation for it, that there were multiple different... that's his explanation for them having multiple different results from this particular test, and how nothing, you can walk away with anything that says either flat earth or globe earth because you got mixed results. And actually the entire experiment worked because of a globe earth. It works exactly how we would think it to act. So I don't understand what the point of the entire experiment was. But the way that you portrayed it in the film, like, all they had to do was film you, Jaren. That's all they had to do. All they had to do was film you talking about it, and how we're going to try again. We're going to shine a light through here. Everybody can see it. It's on fucking Twitter. You explain the experiment. You fuck up the measurements, of course, but because you can't go from 17 foot and then holding it in the air and your arms grow fucking 6 feet tall. Like, I didn't catch that when I first watched the film, but holy fuck, now that I think about it, like, when you hold it up, it's only going to be maybe a couple feet higher. I didn't think to check the you know, how much you should expect to be hidden, and you know, with how much you're saying that it's hid, or with your assumption here, which I'm guessing that you're assuming like a height of like, what is it, like 17 feet or something like that, maybe? I don't know how you did the calculations, Jaren. This is just, oh fuck, you know, I wish I didn't drink all my beer, because this needs beer.
Miles away is holding the light around his chest, and I tell him to hold it above his head, and he holds it above his head, and all of a sudden we see a little flicker of the light. Well, the problem with her, what she's saying here between 17 feet, 23 feet, etc., is that's a 6 foot difference. Well, it's not 6 foot difference from somebody's chest to holding a light above their head. But anyway, let's continue.
No, it's not. It's only like a couple feet. That's why there was a hole at 15 feet above the water, like you said in your original analysis, post-analysis of your experiment, and then 17 feet. 15 feet, 17 feet. But you explained it prior to doing it as it being 17 feet and 23 feet. But anyways, okay, so we had a couple, Gary P. I think Bob and Jaren should be given Nobel Prizes for their conclusive evidence of the heliocentric model. Yeah, Gary, I mean, I don't think they deserve a Nobel Prize for just figuring out what everybody else knows. Fletcher Isler says Jism should understand exposure since he was exposed in the film, idiot! Oh, damn! Fletcher's got the fire.
So again, I'm back to her statement here. She said, the only possible explanation that would nullify the globe result, light visible at 23 feet and not 17 feet, is that there is an obstruction at the low height, 17 feet, and behind the curve you state that the person that was a globe believer was saying, isn't that proof the earth curves? Well then, the guy who was at the middle said, no, it's hitting the weeds. In addition, we included you saying, then we tried to do it again, like to replicate that result, and we didn't get the same result. There was just nothing that we could walk away from and say for sure was decided. Those two quotes were pulled from your Globebusters NASA Bashing 2.0 show, and acknowledged that you concluded that there could be an obstruction and that you determined the results to be inconclusive. Both of these quotes from behind the curve appear at the 1 hour 34 minute mark in the film. Finally, we apologize for the confusion surrounding the shot of your neighbor's house. That shot is in the movie because you say like a laser for your cats, and we cut away to the cats watching you with the laser. It was not intended to look like your house at all since we are talking to you on your porch at that time. Please let me know if you have additional questions or if I need to clarify further. Again, I replied to this email and said, are you going to acknowledge that you promised to give me footage and now you're not? And they did, and she said, no, refer to my last email and you can read that word for word. So I just did that for you. Again, there's so much wrong with this statement, and this is why at this point, it's just they're dishonest at this point.
No, they're not being dishonest. I mean, they represented you exactly how you are. Like, I don't get it. Both him and Bob are angry over the same fucking thing. They are angry at the fact that the documentary film crew filmed them just being dipshits. And they're like, how dare you? Hold on, I gotta get my head on for this. Hold on 1 second. They're just like, God damn it! How dare you film me being a dipshit? I can't believe you filmed me being a dipshit, and then you put it in the movie, me being a dipshit, and then you put it in the movie where I was a dipshit afterwards, I was a dipshit. Oh my god, why you gotta film me doing the exact same thing that I do every goddamn week? Like, do you understand how crazy you seem, Jeranism? I mean, goddamn, son. Seriously, Bob, Jeranism, they're both mad because people filmed them saying stupid shit and they are embarrassed that they said stupid shit. And now people are pissed off at them, yelling at them, and thinking that they're shills or they're Illuminati agents or some other kind of fucking thing. I don't know. But they're just mad that they got filmed. That was it.
Well, so they agreed to get filmed, but here's the thing. They filmed themselves saying stupid shit.
Yeah.
All the time. It's not dumber or different when you do it yourself versus when someone else does it. You're still a fucking idiot.
Right. It's just that now it's reaching a wide range of people and everybody sees it and is like, oh, that's a dipshit thing. But the experiment, we wouldn't expect to see, like, a big difference. Like, it's not like you had the light, like, right there next to the ground. I mean, if you had it right next to the ground, maybe you might have a good experiment. But you had it at, like, either between waist and chest level is where it fucking was. And then you had the bigger one that was just above your head. So there was no hope for that particular fucking experiment in Jeranism.
Scott Teeple said they need tongs in their hands to be taken seriously.
I could just see it now. Jeranism versus Bob. Fight to the death with tongs. I'm gonna get those crab legs there, Bob. Fuck you, Bob. We got Who's Your Atheist that says, I was able to conclude that Jism is a fucking idiot. Damn, we got a good number of the idiots here. Oh man, but there's a little bit more of him complaining and talking and everything like that. But you know, it's 9:25. Oh shit! I don't have crab legs. No, I got this shit. Come here, bitch. I'm gonna get you. I'm like a ninja with this shit. Okay.
All I have to do is get off camera. Anything, you're gonna stay on camera.
She's protected. So I think that I don't know. Let's listen to a little bit more of it, and then we'll go to the Skeptic Mafia comments.
She's talking about the fact that it's hitting weeds. She's talking about a completely different observation. The hitting the weeds is the laser. Think about the end of that movie. If there's a light and somebody's saying, you know, lift it up, put it down. Well, there's clearly not weeds blocking the hole that we're seeing at 17 feet above the sea level, above the water level. So she's even confusing the observations. She's confusing the experiment. She's confusing the nights. Everything is all messed up.
No, I don't think she's confusing anything. I think that what she did was she explained how she put in there how you were trying to circumvent the results of the experiment. Now, I don't fault the documentary people for not knowing to do the Earth curve calculation or anything like that. What they were trying to do was accurately represent the experiment that you were doing as you were explaining it to them or as you were performing it. It wasn't their job to do the measurements and everything. The fact that that it was 17 feet and 23 feet is your fuck up there, Jism. That's your fuck up. And it's your fuck up when you're talking about weeds, like, obstructing view. Really? You think weeds are going to obstruct the view of a goddamn laser with a beam divergence that puts the beam at being, like, I think it's like 300,000 millimeters squared. Like, I've got the fucking calculations in my review of it. And you could do this beforehand. So you have no excuse whatsoever. Anyways, I'm done talking about Jism and his fuckery. This fucking idiot can just go off in his own delusion, keep spreading your bullshit and everything that you do, because while I may make money off of my YouTube stuff, not a lot of money, but I make some money. You are definitely disingenuous as shit, making money off of people's ignorance. And I am in no way in the same class as your dipshittery. Fucking shill. I know, right? I'm savage tonight. I'm fucking, don't come at me. I got my tongs. You know how we Alabama boys do it.
They're not going to hurt anybody. They're covered in silicone.
Hey, don't tell people that. These are sharp fucking tongs.
They can see it.
On there. But anyways, we're going to be going now. Definitely go check out the weekend binge from the Godless Island there. It's really good, especially if you like, finding new creators, because that's what he does right now.
He's on. Let's go.
Okay. So anyways, we'll see you later, heathens. Don't forget to stand up, use your voice, all that kind of good shit.